Cheers and welcome in. I am J-Bar and I finally get to announce something that I have been incredibly excited about for some time now. The Freeaim VR shoes are hitting Kickstarter this July 15th, 2025, and I couldn't be more pumped about this. For those of you that have been watching my content, you know that I've been talking about these shoes for about a year now, so I am very excited to be telling you all about the Kickstarter page and what is available. If you haven't heard about the Freeaim shoes, let me give you a quick introduction. These are motorized shoes that you use while playing VR games. They currently work with any Steam VR game that has smooth locomotion, meaning you can move around with your joystick. And they also currently work with a handful of standalone VR titles on Quest like VR Chat, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, as well as some of the Team Beef ports like Doom 3 and Return to Castle Wolfenstein. But before we get into more details, I want to explain to you why I'm kind of pitching Freeaim VR's Kickstarter to you. I'm actually not getting paid for this video. This is not a sponsored video. The Freeaim VR team was nice enough to lend me an early pair of their shoes so that I could test them out a bit and provide some feedback. But I'm putting this video out because I truly believe in what these guys are working on. They already have a working product, so it's not one of those Kickstarters where it can be a little sketchy, where they only have a prototype of something and they're trying to raise the money to make it. They have put in the time and the work to get these shoes ready for consumers. And I am someone who's always looking at new immersive VR tech because I believe that's one of the most exciting things about virtual reality gaming is there's so much more room for innovation. There's a whole frontier out there of different technologies and things that can immerse us into VR that just hasn't been discovered yet. And I think Freeaim is bringing us into potentially a new era of VR locomotion. And I think I'm in a particularly good position as a third party to kind of tell you guys about these shoes, mostly because I've already tried them at quite a few different events, and obviously I've had this pair at home, so I have a good idea on how they work and why they might suit someone like you watching this video. So let's jump into some more details and what's going to be offered on the Kickstarter. There's actually going to be two different types of these shoes being offered. There's going to be a light version and an advanced version. Both are going to operate very similarly, but there are some key differences. So as you may or may not know, whenever you are in VR, you kind of have a play space setup, and there's always a center point of your play space. Now with purchases of either version of the shoes, they're going to come with different options for support frames, but the key thing is the light version of the shoes requires use with a support frame, whereas the advanced version does not. And the reason behind that is because the light version is not going to have the motors that are capable of moving you sideways, which is part of the functionality of the advanced shoes that continuously push you back towards the center of your play space as you're walking around so that you don't creep too far out of your boundary. The light version of the shoes will only have motors that are capable of going forwards and backwards, meaning they require a frame in order to keep you within your play space. Now, personally, I prefer the advanced version because the ability to not have a support frame around you is a huge selling point for me. It really speaks to the freedom that these shoes give you and the portability. If you can use these without the frame, you can kind of throw these shoes and your Quest headset in a backpack and you kind of have a mobile Ready Player One setup wherever you go. And what they've done to allow you to use the advanced version without a frame is they've added about 30-minute I'll call it safety training program that just makes sure that you understand how you can use them, maybe potentially any risks involved, because they do require a little bit of practice and balance. And once you've completed that module per person, you're able to use them without the frame anytime you want. And of course, I do highly recommend using these with the frame for as long as you need until you feel confident and comfortable enough to use the advanced version without that frame. In my experience, it doesn't take very long, and from what I've seen from other people using them for the first time at events, they usually pick up on it pretty quick. Let's talk about the frame options really quick. The Hex frame is going to have a couple different modes. It has a handrail mode, which is for the most stability, and they also have a gamer mode, which kind of puts the handrails a little bit more away from you, so you have a little bit more arm freedom. But that Hex frame in general is best used for kind of exploration and adventure games, maybe games where you're not going to be crouching around and swinging your arms around too much, because that frame could get in the way if you're playing something where you need to be a little bit more active. And that frame works best on hard floors. If you do want to use it on carpet, you are going to need a separate hard base for that. And they will be offering that base as well. And then you have the swivel frame, which is kind of designed more like a VR treadmill style, where you have a harness, but your arms will have complete freedom of movement, and you'll be able to be a little bit more balanced when you're playing kind of the more action-packed games where you're going to be turning around and moving quite a bit faster. And that swivel frame will come with an attached hard base, so it'll work on any type of flooring you needed to work on. But a quick note about the base that comes with the swivel frame: the design for that doesn't need as large of a base, so it is not suitable for using the advanced version of the shoes without a frame. You would need the other larger floor piece in order to use them without the frame. Both versions of the frames, though, can be folded up in a way that makes them much easier to move around and store away when you're not using them. A couple more details about either version of the shoes. When it comes to speed, you can't really sprint on these, but you can go up to a light jog, which I found feels good enough for pretty much any game out there. The Freeaim team also clocked the noise levels at around 65 decibels. They say is similar to having a normal conversation or a quiet washing machine. The batteries for the shoes are also hot swappable. They last somewhere around 2 hours, give or take, depending on the weight of the user and what type of game you're playing. If you're a little heavier and you're playing a more active game, it's going to be a little less. My understanding is if you do pick up a pair for yourself, they will offer an additional pair of batteries at additional cost. And kind of behind the scenes a little bit, they have a phone app that helps you control the shoes and kind of tweak the settings to your preferences. And you can also access the settings in Steam VR that allow you to tweak things to just feel right for you in whichever game you're playing. And one neat feature that I actually really like is you're able to connect to the shoes via Bluetooth or via Wi-Fi. And I found the Wi-Fi connection exceptionally useful because I can access my computer and play Steam VR through virtual desktop anywhere in my house. And because I can connect the shoes to Wi-Fi, that means I can also use the shoes anywhere in my house, which has been amazing. My studio room that I stream from is way over there, and I'm able to play Steam VR games in VR with the shoes in this room with no problem at all. I highly recommend checking this Kickstarter out, even if you're just curious. I think it's worth taking a peek, and I will have links in the description of this video below that will show you their promo video on it, as well as have a referral link to their Kickstarter page, which just lets them know that you're finding their products through my content, and that helps support me as well. So if this Kickstarter goes well, I am confident that they will keep iterating and improving and just making these better and better. So I am very excited to see what future generations of these shoes will be capable of. I can't wait to see your guys' thoughts and questions in the comment area. If you have any major questions, just pop them in down there and I will be sure to reply, or the Freeaim team will probably reply as well. I appreciate you guys sticking around and watching this video, as well as checking out that Kickstarter, and I am looking forward to seeing more people step into VR in a new way. Cheers, and we'll see you out there.